Hi, this is Denise Troyel, and I'm going to present to you all that I learned during the Level 1 Foundational course for Adelingua and what my plan is for this upcoming school year in my new role as the Spanish language arts teacher for 6th and 7th grade. Throughout my presentation, I kind of had to put it all together and see how the goals of the program are met through my goals and my action steps. So I color coded it, and in blue is biliteracy and proficiency, green are the cultural competencies, and academic achievement is in purple, all of the proof and the evidence of those action steps that I want to take. The very first focus, program fidelity, was a very important one for me, and busted some of my myths from the beginning. The standard that stood out to me was that the program provides a viable means for educating all students. Um, One of the resources that I took away from this module was actually the discussion boards, because one of my peers mentioned something about being in communication with parents and families, and which I do in my other classes, but usually is due to some sort of need or concern. Whereas this program, in order to maintain its progress, since these are the same students that need to be progressing and growing, uh, in this unique context, I feel that mandatory conferences should happen throughout the year at different points. Back to school night presentations are going to be crucial as far as like the discussion questions that I got through the module and my peers through discussion. There are questions such as why did parents choose this program for their child? What are their expectations of the program, and of me as the teacher? I want to emphasize, face to face, the importance of their involvement and their good, positive attitude when they're at home with them about the work that they're given, and how they can be more hands on, even if they don't know the language, the minority language. So, those are my big resources, and also what helped me move my thinking. Um, and change it, because what I thought before was that this program should probably be more for the self directed, gifted, or above average type student. But now, going through this module, and then I needed to, still learn a little bit more to have the complete buy in. But what I know is that really, and I kind of have always believed this, any learning style or intelligence type is capable of becoming bilingual and biliterate. The success indicator that is pointed out in this module is that all students can demonstrate their respect for differences amongst their peers and participate in differentiated learning experiences. And it's true, I've believed that all along. I just needed a little bit more reassurance as I went through like the dual language development and the biliteracy, all of that. Just how does this program get that job done? Then that's what, came full circle for me. So my goals as far as this particular focus, one is to share my beliefs about the powerful impact that this program can have and has had on the community. And the way that I want to do that is, like I said before, create presentations, like either for my own team, my grade level teams, departments, in meetings. So I want to encourage the support from administrators and teachers that are either in the program or not, because my students are going to have half of their subjects in the minority language and half in the majority language. So if I can get that buy-in from all of their 8 teachers, it will boost the fidelity of this program for sure. back to school night presentation for families, as I said before, to understand the specific ways in which they can help their child, even if they do not speak the language, the minority language. I also want to explore the integration of guest speakers, field trips, festivals that we can create ourselves, and then after school clubs that maybe some teachers may be interested in sponsoring. The other two goals in this focus is I want to approach the dual language immersion students with the same instructional strategies as English students with learning needs, and or the same as my ESL students, the students that are learning English as a second language. It's so many of the same strategies or tools that are needed. In acquisition of another language or to become proficient in that other language. I want to remove the thought that, they all need to be at a certain level, as far as the type of student that they are or the way that they learn. So this module helped me significantly. And one of the ways that I'm going to do it is I utilize student learning inventories to focus on strengths and weaknesses to meet the student where he or she is at and build from that starting point. I do this. I have like parent surveys. I have discussions with other teachers or former teachers to help me get the picture of where to start with each student. The next focus is dual language development. And the standard is that the program recognizes the social, cultural, and linguistic differences between the languages of instruction, and it makes teaching and learning decisions accordingly. So this is a little heavier on the teachers, which I don't mind at all, in order to kind of like get the wheel, take the wheel on this part, because what I thought before was that DLI students would lack in some skills in their native language, would be delayed or behind somehow. But as I went through this module, I now understand that when this program is followed through, these students actually have a major benefit of problem solving, language decoding, and capabilities to excel in other areas of study, which I also knew that. I knew the brain power that goes behind multilingualism. I just needed to see how this was going to be done. So the success indicator in this module that I saw over and over again was that the teachers actually possess high levels of minority language proficiency, and then they, in their corrective feedback techniques, they emphasize the language accuracy in developmentally appropriate ways, by the assignments that they give and the feedback. So this particular resource is very useful to me. It reiterated to me how important it is, the language that I use as I correct them, as to encourage, because like with second language learners, it is important to allow them to express themselves completely and then listen to themselves, and then have them repeat after they've gone through their whole thought, instead of cutting them off in the middle, and those type of things. So this is a resource that I'm definitely going to use. It's a great one. So my goals, my main overarching goals for this part is to show enthusiasm, positive attitude towards bilingualism, which will come fairly natural to me because I've been bilingual since I was a little girl, and I can share in those benefits. Elevate the value of minority language for sure. And then I want students who are confident in communicating in that language. So the way that I'm planning on doing this is I want to celebrate them often in front of faculty and their peers. I want to put his or her work on display and celebrate that as much as the majority language speaking classes. Like I want to have their stuff up on the walls, and I want to show them off just as much. I want to speak Spanish. I will speak Spanish to them and other adults who speak the minority language when we're outside of the classroom or instructional time, and in different contexts and environments. far as the counterbalance instruction, that one was very important, and action steps. As far as the counterbalance, on doing this is I want to celebrate them often in front of faculty and their peers. I want to put his or her work on display and celebrate that as much as the majority language speaking classes. Like I want to have their stuff up on the walls, and I want to show them off just as much. I want to speak Spanish. I will speak Spanish to them and other adults who speak the minority language when we're outside of the classroom and or instructional time and in different contexts and environments. I want to invite guest speakers to share their stories about the benefits they have experienced being bilingual, whether in their life or in their careers. Guest speakers may be parents, other teachers in the school, or my international students who are also learning a second, sometimes third language. Um, and that will help to see, students that are not that much older than they are, and they can relate to them, and it engages them and inspires them. I also want to, and this is the focus, the standard. I want to create assignments that will allow them to be affirmed through meaningful presentations, whether it's in class or in assemblies, writing to pen pals, forming friendships with one another in this program. So these are all my goals and action steps for next year for the dual language development. As far as the counterbalance instruction, that one was very important to me as well, because I needed to learn what was the key focus, because the standard for this module was that the program explicitly teaches non-transferable linguistic features in both languages of instruction and encourages cross-linguistic connections while remaining in the language of instruction. That was important to me, because what I thought before was that all skills were going to be taught in the minority language, and I thought that's going to be a lot of waste of time and redundancy. And so when I got through this and I realized that I can teach solely non-transferable skills and help the students make those connections and still stay in the minority language, that gave me relief so that I can stick with the LIOPT instructional purposes. That way, this is something I can also express to parents, and it's in blue. That's why I connected it with the proficiency in the program fidelity, because I can explain this to them, why they won't fall behind in their other classes, or in their majority language, and all that goes along with that. So my goals and action steps for this focus is that, first of all, I'm not going to assume that my students catch all the differences between the languages. I will display grade level specific language differences around the classroom as visuals and reference points, posters, anchor charts, word walls, all that good stuff. Before creating lessons, I will be keenly aware of new concepts and evaluate each as transferable or non-transferable. And then I will also post grammar and word feature of the week in each of the Spanish immersion classrooms. Since our students travel to their content area teachers, or specials or electives, the teachers that are in the Spanish immersion or the other subjects, I'm going to post that grammar and word feature of the week so that it is a natural flow and they see it and they're constantly reminded to integrate it into whatever activity or writing assignment, whatever it might be, in their content areas. So a resource, oh my goodness, such a wonderful resource for me, because I need that structure and that template. Loved it. I will have to tweak it a little bit again, because our middle school students go through they see each teacher 4 times a week. So I will move it around a little bit, but this is fantastic. Love it. As far as progress monitoring, I love this. I think it's highly, highly valuable. The program uses assessment practices that place as much value on academic growth in the minority language as it does in the majority. What I thought before was that there was only like seasonal or periodic assessments given as a part of the program's evaluative process. What I know now is that there's several ways that teachers help students set, review, and meet goals. The formative assessments, I love those. Those are crucial for personal growth and development and becoming proficient. So the way I'm going to do it, first, I'm going to explore the different options for the minority language assessment throughout the year, because it's been a little bit since sixth and seventh grade has been added to this program in school. I'm not sure how concrete that is right now. I want to check and see if Renaissance that we use for star reading in English, if they have it in Spanish as well, because the students are accustomed to that. Um, I'm accustomed, these are my action steps. I'm accustomed to using checklists and conferencing to monitor my students. That's a great way to give them immediate feedback. Frequency goal is daily because I feel that using it as a part of the learning process, students become accustomed to the accountability and it motivates them for more quality work. They don't know, they got to be on their toes. They don't know when I'm coming around or when we're going to have a one-on-one. I want them to have an ongoing goal sheet or vision board themselves so that they can refer to it and check it off. It's like an attitude of achievement and encouragement. And then I use this as a data collection to see what I need to spend a little more time on, what we can move on, what group I need to, pull and go over something, or peer tutoring, whatever it might be. Love it. Definitely going to use it. I love the file folder idea, but this was my like rough list that I'm gonna make like roster. I'm gonna put the roster and make weekly copies or a bunch of copies and use them weekly, so that I can have it all in one place. Love it. My collaboration with colleagues for sure. I love cross-curricular studies, like having a big unit study. So I want to have an ongoing discussion with them, how they feel about that, if our philosophies align with that, so that we can get those students just all in, um, and engaged in and seeing the big picture. I also want to set up a meeting with my administrators to see what kind of funding this program has and who we can approach, to see about these festivals and these after school clubs and different things that we can do to boost um, the affirmation and the confidence that we want our students to have, and the exposure for the rest of the student body to have for the beauty of second language learning. So last but not least, I want to say thank you for this very informative, practical, and engaging course. Very well done. I enjoyed the feedback on my assignments and also the presentations. Miss Stephanie, you are a gifted communicator, and I applaud you all for a job well done. Thank you.